Hi, it's Dot from dotstrot.com, and for Thanksgiving I made a 22-pound bird, so it was pretty big, and I have a lot of leftover turkey. So this is one of the dishes I started making when I first started going low carb. I was just going online and just grabbing any recipe I could, and this one I actually got from the Atkins website, and it's a turkey cauliflower hash, and I really enjoyed it. So much that I just decided to put it in a staple of dishes I always make after I make a turkey. You know, again, it's a great dish to use all that extra breast meat that you have. And pretty much what you're using is cauliflower, of course. I've got about a pound of turkey, all white meat, with the skin. I've got onions. I have a mixture of fresh herbs, bacon, some tomatoes, which I'm going to use as a garnish, salt, pepper, and butter, and some eggs, because I'm making a breakfast hash essentially, but we're having it for dinner tonight, so I'm going to put some poached eggs on top of it. So the first thing you want to get going with this is you want to take your cauliflower and you want to not soften it up, but you want to cook it for about 4 minutes before you get it into the skillet and start frying it up in some butter. So I'm going to head over to the stove. I got my water boiling. I'm going to start melting the butter to soften up the onions, and we'll go ahead and head over to my oven. Okay, I have my butter in a skillet. It's all melted. I've got my water boiling. I'm going to go ahead and add the cauliflower. It's going to sit in the water for about 4 minutes. Again, I want it sort of a tender crisp, if you will. Nothing too soft. So I'm going to just go ahead. You got to be careful getting it in. I like to get the bowls a little closer to the water, so there's a big splash. That's going to stay in for about 4 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is turn up my heat to about a medium high. I'm going to go ahead and add the onion. Get the sizzle going. That's what I want to hear, is a little bit of a sizzle. And what I'm going to do is cook the onion just in the butter. I want to soften the onion. I'm going to go ahead and add my pink Himalayan salt. I'm going to add my pepper. And then I'm going to add my fresh herbs. I'm adding here rosemary, sage, and thyme, which is basically the fresh herbs I had left over from Thanksgiving. Now the Atkins recipe just calls for using regular ground thyme. You certainly can do that. I've decided to go ahead and add a little bit more. I'm not adding that many herbs. I'll have sort of the information below the video, sort of letting you know how much fresh herbs. I just want a little bit of color, but also just a little bit of taste, but I don't want them to dominate. And usually with fresh herbs, you use less of them anyway than you would of ground herbs that you get at the grocery store. So I'm going to go ahead and saute this. And I've got about 3 minutes before my cauliflower is set to come out. All right, the herbs smell delicious with the onion. I'm going to go ahead. It's been about 4 minutes. I'm going to take the cauliflower off, and I'm just going to go ahead and drain them. Put the pot right back down in there. And now what I'm going to do is just shake it out a little bit, and then I'm going to bring them to the cutting board, and I'm going to go ahead and chop it a little bit more. All right, I have my cauliflower out, and you can see I have them on a paper towel. I'm going to press down lightly, and they still feel firm, which is great. And I'm just getting out all the extra moisture. my mouth just isn't working right now. So I'm going to go do this, and then I'm going to just flip them on the cutting board. You can see it's still steaming, so you want to be careful when you do this. You don't want to burn yourself. And like I said, I'm going to chop them into smaller pieces. I went ahead and I have them chopped up, so I'm going to go ahead and put these over in the skillet now. All right, I have the cauliflower in the skillet. I'm mixing everything together. And you cook them for about 2 minutes, like this. And I've got about another minute to go. And then what I'm going to do, once that happens, I'm going to add my turkey. And I'm going to turn the heat down just slightly. And then one of the things I like to do is, when cooking with the turkey, I like to add an additional extra flavor. Sometimes I use chicken broth. Today I'm actually going to use about a 1/4 cup of heavy cream once I add the turkey in. And I'm going to let that reduce so it all comes together and all simmers, and the flavors really start coming together when you do that. So that's pretty well mixed. I'm going to go ahead and add in the turkey. And like I said, I add in the skin with it. You want to try to brown the turkey a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and add in my cream. I'm going to let that simmer. Let me mix it up. I'm turning it back up a little bit higher. I'm still at a medium heat, but or medium high heat. I would just want a little bit hotter. And then it's time to throw in the bacon. The bacon isn't part of the Atkins recipe. I had extra bacon from another dish I was making earlier. And I know what you're thinking, a low carber with extra bacon. How can that be? Forgive me. I was just, sometimes you actually can have too much bacon. I know that sounds like sacrilege, but it is true. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead. And what I also like is about the bacon, it adds a little extra color because when you look at it, it's a pretty bland looking dish with the cauliflower and the turkey. So I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer and just to keep an eye on it. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just cut my tomatoes in half. All right, I'm going to add some cherry tomatoes just as a garnish. They're not going to actually go into the skillet. And I like using different types of cherry tomatoes. These are known as either black cherries, and I've also seen them called chocolate cherry tomatoes. And they don't taste very sweet, but they have a delicious taste to them nonetheless. So I'm just going to cut my tomatoes in half. And then I'm going to do my sun gold the same way. I'm just going to slice them in half. With cherry tomatoes, you do want to be careful because they can be, you know, they're cherries, so they're small. They tend to have they hold a lot of sugar for their size. You don't want to go more than 5 of them, basically, in any dish. And I usually limit myself to about 5 a day, just keep the carb count out without adding too many carbs. So I'm going to go ahead and check on the cauliflower turkey hash and see how that's going. All right, I've got this going pretty good. I'm seeing a little color come on the turkey as well as the cauliflower, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to cook it still for a few more minutes, but what I've got going in the meantime is my water. I'm going to make poached eggs that I'm going to serve on top of my hash. And so I have the water going right now. It's not quite at the point where I can put the eggs in just yet, but I'll probably have the cauliflower off heat by that point. The turkey cauliflower hash will be off heat. And then I'll go ahead and focus on making the poached eggs. I showed how to make poached eggs in my Eggs Benedict caprese salad dish, which I'll link to below, and you can get an idea of how I poach my eggs. Makes it real easy. I'm not an expert, but practice makes perfect. So don't be afraid of giving that a try. All right, the turkey cauliflower hash is all done. I've got my poached egg on it. I'm going to bust that puppy open, one of the eggs open. Look at that. Yummy. Looks absolutely delicious. I'm going to take a little bite to get the yolk all the way around. The nice thing with adding that cream, it keeps everything nice and moist. It is a wonderful dish. I decided to add a little bit of paprika on top of the eggs. Again, I love color in my dish when I'm eating. I like it to at least look somewhat pretty and attractive, but it's an easy dish. There's a lot of little pieces to it, but that's the wonderful thing about hash. You can always add things to it. It doesn't just have to be the tomatoes. You can add any type of peppers, roasted peppers if you wanted to, or zucchini or broccoli even. You can really make it your own, and it's going to be absolutely delicious and easy to make. And if you like the video, hit subscribe. Also give me a thumbs up if you want. And if you really like it, go ahead and share it with your friends too. I'd appreciate it. And in the comments, if you make your own hash or if you like to make leftovers with turkey, that's a little bit different than the turkey sandwich. Go ahead and put it down in the comments box and share it with everybody. Let them know what you do with all of your leftover bird. Until next time, I'll see ya.